So, hello, everybody. My name is Chris Willard, and I'm here with my son Leo and my friend Sara Marlowe. And
Hi,
Sara,
everyone.
hey,
Hi.
everybody.
And Adeline is joining us too.
And Adeline is joining us too. We're going to do a read aloud of one of my favorite mindfulness books and one of the earliest mindfulness books for kids, No Ordinary Apple. And I actually got asked to review this book many years ago.
Yeah.
And it was in my house, and then my kids were born, and you can see how very well loved this copy of No Ordinary Apple is that Sara wrote. So I
I'd
look
love
forward
to
to
see
this
that.
read aloud. So thank you. I'll turn it over to you.
Great, thanks. Hello, everyone. So I'm just going to share this story. And what I found over the years is that people will kind of come up with their own ways of how they want to use the ideas in the story. So No Ordinary Apple. And it's illustrated by Philip Pascuso. And before we start, just one little fun fact. Philip is actually the artist who designed the little Twitter bird. So he,
Wow.
I know. So you'll see.
Looks familiar up there.
There's a few relatives of that. You know, some of the younger kids hopefully don't even know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Parents might. Okay. Adeline, my dear. Do you want to switch sides? Because I'm going to have this book in your face. Here, why don't we switch? Do you want to switch?
But I want this chair.
Okay, here, I'll sit on this with you. It was an ordinary day, full of ordinary things. After school, Elliot went to his neighbor Carmen's house. He always went there until his parents got home from work. Hi, Carmen. Hi, Elliot. How was school? It was okay. May I have a snack before I start my homework? Asked Elliot. Of course. Would you like an apple? An apple? Ugh, don't you have any candy? Sorry, all out of candy, but I have this apple. It is very special. What's so special about it? It looks pretty ordinary to me. Oh, this is no ordinary apple, said Carmen. It might surprise you. Will it give me superpowers? Well, I don't know. Would you like to find out, she asked. How? Asked Elliot. So I always love to ask children at this page, and maybe you can think about it, that what kind of superpowers do you imagine an apple might give you? I don't know. Do you have any ideas, Adeline? What kind of superpowers? I don't know, Leo. You can think about it if you have any ideas. So Elliot says, how? How do I do this? Eat the apple like you have never tasted one before. Only then will you discover what makes it so special. But I've eaten about 1,000,000 apples. How can I do that? Asked Elliot. So here you can take a moment and think about, I don't know, how many apples have you eaten before? Chris, what do you think? How many have you eaten in your life?
Probably hundreds of apples, I would bet. Yeah, because apple pies and just plain apples and applesauce, it's a lot of apples.
I think we probably had 100 this week. Apples are a real staple in our house.
Yeah, I had like a billion gazillion.
Yeah, there you go, a billion gazillion. So first off, tell me this. What color is the apple?
Red.
Elliot said very quickly. Is it? Look very closely. Elliot rolled the apple around in his hands. He noticed that some spots were pure red, some were green, and others were a little brown. There were even a few dull black speckles.
That's all on the apple.
Yeah, there are so many different colors here. I guess it isn't just red. A very good observation. And what does it feel like? Elliot looked puzzled. Like an apple, he said. Carmen laughed. Slowly feel it with your fingers. What do you notice? It's a little cold. Some parts are smooth and others are bumpy. Some places are hard and some are a little soft. Neat. Elliot was about to take a bite when Carmen gently raised her hand to stop him. Not yet. You haven't listened to it. Listen to the apple? How weird, thought Elliot. Feeling a little silly, he held it up to his ear, expecting to hear something. Do you think he heard anything, Leo?
You don't think so?
No, what do you think, Adeline? Do you think he heard anything?
No, he didn't.
You're right. He heard nothing. Now, is that the only way to listen to an apple? Carmen asked. Elliot got an idea. This is something you could try at home. Your parents will love it. He tossed the apple up in the air, and as it landed in his hands, he heard a hollow thwap. Elliot smiled. He had probably made that sound 1,000,000 times before, but he'd never actually heard it. Now do I take a bite? He asked, growing a bit impatient. Not quite yet. What does it smell like? Elliot took a sniff. Fruity, I guess, and a little like flowers and springtime. After another moment, he laughed. It also feels cool and smooth against my nose. Carmen smiled. Can I take a bite now? Elliot could feel his tummy rumbling. Sure, said Carmen, but I wonder what else you might discover if you bite it very slowly. Elliot really wanted to figure out the secret of the apple, so he decided to try. As he held it up to his lips, he noticed his mouth was already watering. He was pretty sure this had never happened with an apple before. As his teeth sunk in, he heard a loud, crisp crunch. He noticed the sweet appley juiciness in his mouth and his little juice drops tickling his chin. The peel felt a little stringy, the flesh felt cool and a little spongy. Then came a burst of the familiar fresh appley smell. Notice what the apple tastes like in different parts of your mouth. You can do this if you chew it very slowly and roll it around. Oh, and try not to swallow just yet. Do you think you can do it? Asked Carmen. Elliot nodded. First he chewed with his front teeth, then with the teeth on one side and then the other side. Next, he rolled the chewed up apple around in his mouth. He even tried smooshing the apple against the top of his mouth with his tongue. He tasted it on the back of his tongue, the center, the front, one side, the other side.
Why does he eat the core?
I know, every child always asks that. Why does he eat the core?
Maybe she'll tell us.
I'd love to hear what the kids have to say, but for now I will say artistic license. You can ponder that with your family. That will give you an activity to do for a few hours.
Go on.
He really wanted to swallow the whole time, but was determined not to. He was going to discover the secret. Are you ready to swallow it now? Yes, please, Elliot said through his apple-filled mouth. Go ahead and see what you feel as the apple travels to your belly. It might help if you close your eyes. Elliot closed his eyes and concentrated as he swallowed. He could feel the moistness of the apple as it went down his throat. His belly had stopped rumbling and even felt a little more full. What did you notice? Asked Carmen. You know, the apple did taste different at the front of my mouth than at the back, Elliot said. In one part it was sweet, in another kind of tart, like two fruits in one. Even after all this time, Elliot still wasn't sure what made this particular apple so special. Yes, it was more colorful, more tasty, more fragrant, and more noisy than any apple he had ever eaten. In fact, it was the most appley apple ever. But why? What's the secret? Elliot asked. Why is this apple so super appley? What did you do to make it that way? Ah, said Carmen, it's not what I did that made it so special. It's what you did. Elliot looked proud. What I did? By slowing down when eating this apple and being curious about how it looks, feels, sounds, smells, and tastes, you made it extraordinary. And you know what? You can do this with any food. I wonder what foods you're thinking about you might try this with. So Elliot thought about this for a moment and his eyes sparkled. Jelly beans? Sure. You like jelly beans, right, Adeline? Yeah. Ice cream? Absolutely. Even macaroni and cheese? Elliot couldn't imagine macaroni and cheese tasting even better.
I hate macaroni.
Yes, even macaroni and cheese.
Me too, I hate it.
Wow. Yes, I have the 2 kids in North America, I think, who do not like macaroni. And we make it homemade with love. No, Elliot, you can try this with foods that aren't your favorite too.
He doesn't like cake?
I know, he doesn't like cherry cake. That's surprising. Really? I don't know. Broccoli's pretty gross, even though that's your favorite. And peas, I don't think I could ever eat peas
I like peas.
slowly. Well, it's worth a try. Maybe start with one little pea. You might be amazed at what you discover, just like with the apple. Elliot thought about this for a moment. Then he slowly and mindfully ate the rest of the apple. He thought about all the foods he could eat this way. He couldn't wait to show his family and friends. Suddenly, a huge smile washed over his face. He remembered that today was Friday, and that meant
Pizza
Day!
Pizza night!
Oh my gosh, thank you so
can
much.
I share a little story? I was reading this at a school, and a little girl came up to me afterwards. This was about 4 years ago, and she said, you know, I think you should write a sequel called No Ordinary Pizza. So I did, and we're just in the works now. Philip is doing the illustrations, and that will be coming out. And what that does is teaches about how everything is so connected. So thank you for that little girl.
Oh my gosh, that's so wonderful, and it's so wonderful that it came out of someone else's idea too, like that someone suggested it. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Adeline just gave another idea, so maybe it'll turn into a trilogy. No Ordinary Lollipop.
Oh.
Would that be a good one, Leo?
Yeah, it takes a long time. See how long you can go without crunching down on it? That's what we do, is try to see how long can you go without crunching.
Want to teach self-regulation and impulse control?
Exactly. There we go, for sure. So how'd you get the idea for this book? And I feel like it's such a good one as well.
I am a therapist, and I facilitate groups. And so for years, I was teaching mindfulness in a group setting to children and families. To be honest, it was almost more for the parents and caregivers.
Yeah, that's often how it happens.
And I love Thich Nhat Hanh's approach of planting seeds, just planting seeds and not kind of forcing anything. And children's literature is such a great way to do that.
Yeah.
Eating is the foundational practice for introducing mindfulness and mindfulness-based stress reduction, mindfulness-based cognitive therapy, all of those, because it's just so in the moment. So I thought, oh yeah, I'll kind of think about something. And I used to write songs and things.
Oh, nice.
It seemed like a fun way. And I wanted to have more books for my programs. And there weren't a lot out at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's how a lot of people get started, is just wishing they had more stories and more things to do with the kids or with their programs. That's where a number of people, I think, got really inspired to write their books.
Yes.
So, yeah. And it's such a great teaching tool. And then this really teaches in the moment and sensory practice and curiosity. And then I love the pizza really teaching interconnection and all of that. I think that's so wonderful.
And like everyone eats.
Right. We all breathe, we all eat.
We all breathe, we all eat. And so it's just something that, we can start to incorporate in a playful way in our lives. That, we may not go through all of the steps all the time, but even just taking a moment at a meal of kind of noticing how many colors there are or what the textures are.
Right.
And, having a little bit of a fun, non-competitive challenge.
Right.
Some of my mentors have taught me that of, let's see if we can find 6 ways to describe how this feels in your mouth. Something like that.
Right.
Yeah, Adeline, would you like
the thwap sound of the apple? It's so evocative. I just love it.
Yeah, Adeline wants a piece of apple while we're.
All right.
There you go. Oh. Yeah, we go through a lot of apples in our household. There you
go. We need to get some more, as my daughter calls them. What does she call them? What does Maisie say? Bapples.
Bapples.
Bapples. Has some bapples that she loves to eat.
Very
well,
cute.
Sarah, thank you so much. This was really wonderful. And
thanks for doing this.
Stay safe. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And we'll be in touch. And when do you have a sense of when the No Ordinary Pizza is going to happen?
I think my answer to everything right now is I don't know.
Yeah.
I know ordinary love. I'm not
don't
sure.
know.
I don't know. Originally, it wouldn't have been out until early 2022. But yeah, we'll see. So hopefully. But I will, if it's okay, put forward. I will be putting out on my, my small Facebook page. I'm going to start doing some collective community story writing.
Wonderful.
Writing some ideas from children. And one idea that I've been working with, again, coming kind of from Thich Nhat Hanh, is around ways of hugging our tears.
Oh, nice.
Place right now where there's going to be, lots of tears, and sometimes we may not be able to explain why, but to collect ideas about how we can comfort ourselves. So I'm going to put that forward, and I want to hear from children of what's comforting for them so they can share that with other children.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you. So is that Sarah Marlowe? Would that be your Facebook page to find that?
Yeah, it's No Ordinary Apple and other stories. So, but if you just do a search on Sarah Marlowe as well, you'd find that. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Okay. Thanks so much, Chris.
Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, Leo. Nice to meet you.
You too. Say bye-bye. Say thank you.
Bye.